If you're over 50 and noticing more hair in your brush every morning, what you're about to discover might shock you. While most women blame aging or hormones, there's something far more insidious happening right in your kitchen. 7 common fruits that doctors in the US watch closely are silently destroying your hair from the inside out. These aren't exotic fruits or rare foods. They're sitting in your refrigerator right now, and every time you eat them, you're unknowingly accelerating your hair loss. The type of thinning this causes is something medical professionals across America see daily in women just like you, yet hardly anyone talks about it. In the next few minutes, you'll discover exactly which fruits are sabotaging your hair, why they're so damaging after 50, and most importantly, the simple fixes that can help you enjoy these fruits without destroying your crowning glory. But I'm warning you, the seventh fruit will absolutely surprise you. Let's start with the first fruit that's causing serious problems for women over 50, and it's one you probably think is incredibly healthy. Grapefruit has been marketed as a weight loss wonder and a vitamin C powerhouse. And while that's partially true, there's a dark side that nobody tells you about. When you reach 50, your body goes through significant hormonal changes, and grapefruit contains compounds called furanomerins that interfere with how your body processes medications and hormones. This interference doesn't just affect your prescriptions, it actually blocks enzymes in your liver that are responsible for breaking down and utilizing the nutrients your hair follicles desperately need. Your hair follicles after 50 are already working overtime just to maintain normal growth. They need a steady supply of proteins, vitamins, and minerals to keep producing strong, healthy strands. When grapefruit disrupts your body's natural enzyme function, those nutrients never reach your scalp. Instead, they get processed incorrectly or flushed out of your system before your hair can use them. U.S. doctors have observed this pattern repeatedly in their female patients, especially those taking thyroid medications or hormone replacement therapy. The grapefruit essentially creates a nutritional traffic jam in your body. But here's what makes this even more concerning for your hair. Grapefruit is highly acidic, and after 50, your body's ability to balance pH levels naturally decreases. This excess acidity creates inflammation throughout your system, and inflammation is one of the primary triggers of hair thinning that medical researchers at major American universities have documented extensively. When your body is in a constant state of low-grade inflammation, it redirects resources away from non-essential functions. And unfortunately, your body considers hair growth non-essential when it's under stress. Now, does this mean you can never enjoy grapefruit again? Absolutely not. The fix is surprisingly simple and something U.S. doctors commonly recommend. If you love grapefruit, eat it with a source of healthy fat like a small handful of almonds or a slice of avocado. The fat helps buffer the acidic impact and slows down how quickly those enzyme-blocking compounds enter your system. Also, timing matters tremendously. Never eat grapefruit on an empty stomach or within 4 hours of taking any medication. Have it as an afternoon snack well away from your morning routine, and limit yourself to half a grapefruit twice a week maximum rather than making it a daily habit. This way, your body has time to recover, and your hair follicles can get the nutrients they need without constant interference. But as problematic as grapefruit is, the second fruit on this list is even more deceptive because everyone thinks it's the ultimate health food. And what makes it worse is how it specifically targets something in your body that's critical for hair growth after 50. Bananas are everywhere. They're convenient, affordable, and packed with potassium, which is why so many women over 50 eat them daily without a second thought. But what's happening that nobody warns you about? Bananas, especially when they're very ripe, contain extremely high levels of natural sugars that spike your blood sugar rapidly. After 50, your insulin sensitivity changes dramatically. Your body doesn't handle sugar the same way it did in your 30s or 40s. These blood sugar spikes trigger a cascade of hormonal responses, and one of the most damaging is the increase in androgens, specifically DHT. DHT is a hormone that shrinks hair follicles. It's the same hormone responsible for male pattern baldness, and women produce it too, especially after menopause when estrogen levels drop. When you eat high sugar fruits like very ripe bananas regularly, you're essentially feeding the exact hormonal imbalance that causes hair to thin at the crown and widen your part. This pattern is frequently seen in American women over 50, and endocrinologists across the U.S. have connected these dietary sugar spikes to accelerated hair loss in their patients. There's another layer to this problem. Bananas are also high in a form of B vitamin that in excess can actually interfere with other B vitamins your hair needs. Your body needs B vitamins in specific ratios, and flooding your system with too much of one type throws everything off balance. It's like trying to build a house, but having 10 times more nails than you need and not enough wood. The excess doesn't help. It just creates chaos in your system, and your hair follicles are incredibly sensitive to these nutritional imbalances after 50. But don't throw out your bananas just yet. The fix is about choosing the right ripeness and the right timing. U.S. doctors who specialize in nutritional medicine recommend eating bananas when they're still slightly green or just barely yellow. At this stage, the sugars haven't fully developed and they contain resistant starch, which actually helps stabilize blood sugar instead of spiking it. Never eat a banana by itself. Always pair it with protein, like a tablespoon of almond butter or a few slices of cheese. The protein dramatically slows sugar absorption and prevents that DHT triggering insulin spike. Limit bananas to 3 times per week maximum and have them earlier in the day when your body's insulin sensitivity is naturally higher, not as an evening snack when your metabolism has slowed down. Now, while bananas create hormonal chaos, the third fruit is doing something even more sinister to your hair, and it has to do with how it affects your body's ability to hold on to something your hair absolutely cannot survive without. Oranges seem innocent enough. They're the go-to fruit for vitamin C, and vitamin C is good for you, right? The problem isn't the vitamin C itself, but how oranges deliver it, along with other compounds that create a serious issue for women over 50. Oranges are extremely acidic, and they contain high levels of natural fruit acids that leach calcium from your bones and tissues. After menopause, you're already at higher risk for calcium depletion, and calcium isn't just for your bones. Your hair follicles need calcium to maintain their structure and to signal new hair growth cycles. When you eat oranges regularly, especially if you're drinking orange juice, you're creating an acidic environment in your body that forces your system to pull calcium from wherever it can find it to neutralize that acidity. Your hair follicles become a calcium bank that your body withdraws from repeatedly. Medical research conducted at American universities has shown that this calcium depletion directly correlates with hair follicle miniaturization, which is the technical term for when your hair strands become thinner and weaker over time. U.S. doctors see this pattern constantly in patients who consume high amounts of citrus fruits, but there's more happening with oranges that affects your hair. The high sugar content in oranges, particularly when juiced, causes the same insulin problems we discussed with bananas. But oranges also contain compounds that interfere with iron absorption. Iron is critical for hair growth. It helps red blood cells carry oxygen to your hair follicles. And without adequate oxygen, your follicles literally suffocate and stop producing hair. Women over 50 already struggle with iron absorption due to decreased stomach acid production, and oranges make this problem significantly worse. The fix for oranges requires a complete change in how you consume them. First, never drink orange juice. The juicing process removes the fiber that would slow sugar absorption and concentrates the acids that leach calcium. If you want to eat an orange, eat the whole fruit with all its fiber intact, and only eat one small orange per week maximum. Always eat your orange with a meal that contains protein and healthy fats, never alone. This combination buffers the acid and slows sugar release. Even better, U.S. doctors often recommend getting your vitamin C from less acidic sources like strawberries or bell peppers, which provide the same benefits without the calcium leaching effects. If you love citrus flavor, add a small squeeze of lemon to your water instead of eating whole oranges. You get the taste and a small vitamin C boost without overwhelming your system. You might think fruit number 4 would be easier to spot, but this one tricks almost everyone because it's considered one of the healthiest fruits on earth. And the damage it does to your hair happens so gradually that you never connect the dots. Pineapple is loaded with enzymes, vitamins, and anti-inflammatory compounds that health enthusiasts rave about. But for women over 50 dealing with hair concerns, pineapple creates a very specific problem that medical professionals in the US have been tracking. Pineapple contains an enzyme called bromelain, which is fantastic for reducing inflammation in your joints and digestive system. However, bromelain is so powerful that it actually breaks down proteins indiscriminately when you consume large amounts regularly. Here's why this matters for your hair. Your hair is made almost entirely of a protein called keratin. When you eat pineapple frequently, especially fresh, pineapple, where the bromelain is most active, you're introducing a protein-dissolving enzyme into your system. While your body does process and regulate bromelain, women over 50 have slower digestive systems and different enzyme production than younger women. This means bromelain stays active in your system longer and can interfere with how your body builds and maintains the protein structures in your hair follicles. Your body starts breaking down protein faster than it can rebuild it, and your hair pays the price by becoming brittle, thin, and prone to breakage. There's another issue with pineapple that compounds this problem. Fresh pineapple is incredibly acidic and high in natural sugars. This combination creates that same inflammatory response and blood sugar spike we've discussed with other fruits, but pineapple hits harder because of its intensity. The acid level in pineapple can actually cause your body to become mineral deficient over time, particularly in magnesium and zinc, two minerals that are absolutely essential for maintaining healthy hair growth after 50. This mineral depletion is something often seen in American women who consume tropical fruits regularly, and U.S. doctors frequently test for these deficiencies when patients complain of sudden hair thinning. So, what's the solution? If you enjoy pineapple, the key is preparation and portion control. Never eat fresh pineapple more than once every 2 weeks. And when you do, keep your portion to about half a cup maximum. Cooking or grilling pineapple actually deactivates most of the bromelain. So grilled pineapple is a much safer option for your hair. Always eat pineapple as part of a complete meal with plenty of protein to offset the protein-breaking effects of bromelain. U.S. doctors also recommend pairing pineapple with calcium-rich foods like yogurt or cheese to help buffer the acidity. If you love the tropical flavor, consider using small amounts of frozen pineapple in smoothies blended with protein powder and healthy fats. The freezing process reduces bromelain activity, and the protein powder compensates for any protein breakdown that does occur. Now, the fifth fruit is one that's exploded in popularity over the last decade, and it's marketed as a superfood, which makes what it's doing to your hair even more frustrating because you're eating it thinking you're being healthy. Mangoes are delicious, exotic, and packed with vitamins A and C, which is why they've become a staple in smoothie bowls and healthy desserts. But mangoes have a dark side that specifically affects women over 50, and it's related to something called histamine. As you age, your body's ability to break down histamine decreases. Histamine is a compound your immune system uses, but it's also found naturally in many foods, including very ripe mangoes. When you eat high histamine foods regularly and your body can't break down the excess, it builds up in your system and causes inflammation. This inflammation isn't the obvious kind where you see swelling or redness. It's systemic inflammation that affects your entire body at a cellular level, and your hair follicles are particularly vulnerable to this type of inflammatory damage. U.S. doctors who specialize in functional medicine have documented how chronic low-level inflammation from dietary sources like high histamine fruits directly correlates with diffuse hair thinning in their female patients over 50. The inflammation constricts blood vessels, leading to your scalp, reducing the oxygen and nutrient delivery your hair follicles need to function properly. But mangoes create another problem that's specific to hair health. They're extremely high on the glycemic index, meaning they spike your blood sugar faster and higher than almost any other fruit. We've talked about blood sugar spikes with other fruits, but mangoes are in a league of their own. One medium mango can contain over 45 gram of sugar, and that massive sugar load triggers insulin resistance over time. Insulin resistance leads to increased inflammation, increased DHT production, and decreased nutrient absorption. It's a triple threat to your hair, and it happens quietly while you're thinking you're eating something healthy. Here's what makes mangoes particularly deceptive. They're so sweet and delicious that portion control becomes nearly impossible for most people. You start with a few slices and end up eating the whole mango. That's an enormous sugar load hitting your system all at once, and your hair follicles feel the impact within hours as your blood sugar and insulin levels yo-yo dramatically. The fix for mangoes requires serious discipline, but it's doable. Treat mango as an occasional treat, not a regular fruit. Limit yourself to a 4 cup of mango once per week maximum. Always eat mango with a meal that's high in protein and fiber, never as a snack by itself. Some U.S. doctors recommend choosing less ripe mangoes, which have lower sugar content and lower histamine levels. If you're using mango in a smoothie, use no more than a 4 cup and balance it with leafy greens, protein powder, and healthy fats like chia seeds to slow the sugar absorption. Better yet, consider replacing mango with lower sugar alternatives like berries, which provide similar antioxidants without the massive sugar spike and histamine load. The sixth fruit is going to surprise you because it's been promoted as a weight loss aid and a health food for decades. And most women have no idea it's quietly damaging their hair every single time they eat it. Watermelon seems like the perfect guilt-free snack. It's mostly water, low in calories, and refreshing, especially in summer. But watermelon has a hidden problem that specifically affects hair health in women over 50, and it's related to something called lycopene imbalance. Watermelon is extremely high in lycopene, which is a powerful antioxidant that's generally beneficial. However, when you consume lycopene in very high amounts without balancing it with other nutrients, it can actually interfere with your body's ability to absorb and utilize other carotenoids and fats, soluble vitamins that your hair follicles desperately need. Your hair requires a delicate balance of vitamins A, D, E, and K, all of which are fat soluble and work together in specific ratios. When you flood your system with lycopene from watermelon, especially if you're eating large amounts regularly, you create a competitive absorption problem. The lycopene essentially crowds out the other nutrients at the absorption sites in your digestive system, and your hair follicles end up deficient in the very vitamins they need to produce strong, healthy hair. This nutrient competition is something medical researchers at American universities have studied extensively, and U.S. doctors frequently see vitamin imbalances in patients who consume large quantities of specific fruits. But watermelon has an even bigger problem for your hair, and it's the same issue we've seen with other fruits magnified. Watermelon has virtually no fiber despite being a fruit. It's almost pure water and sugar. When you eat watermelon, that sugar hits your bloodstream incredibly fast because there's nothing to slow it down. The glycemic load is massive, and your insulin spikes dramatically. For women over 50 who already have decreased insulin sensitivity, eating watermelon is like pouring gasoline on a fire. Your body goes into panic mode trying to deal with the sugar rush. Cortisol levels spike, inflammation increases, and your hair follicles suffer the consequences. There's also a hydration issue with watermelon that nobody talks about. Like, while watermelon does contain water, the high sugar content actually causes your body to lose water through increased urination as your kidneys try to flush out the excess sugar. This creates a paradox where you think you're hydrating, but you're actually becoming more dehydrated. And dehydration is terrible for hair health. Your hair follicles need consistent hydration to maintain the moisture balance in each hair strand. And the dehydration cycle from high sugar fruits like watermelon leaves your hair dry, brittle, and prone to breakage. So, how can you enjoy watermelon safely? The fix requires serious portion control and strategic timing. Limit watermelon to 1 cup maximum per week and only eat it immediately after a meal that contains healthy fats and protein. The fats help your body absorb the lycopene properly and balance out the vitamin absorption, while the protein and any fiber from your meal will slow the sugar absorption significantly. Never eat watermelon as a snack by itself or first thing in the morning when your stomach is empty. Some U.S. doctors recommend sprinkling a tiny pinch of sea salt on your watermelon, which sounds strange, but actually helps your body maintain electrolyte balance and reduces the dehydrating effect. If you love the refreshing quality of watermelon, consider eating cucumber instead. It provides the same hydrating crunch with almost no sugar and won't interfere with your nutrient absorption or spike your blood sugar. Now, we've reached the seventh and final fruit, and I have to tell you, this one shocked me when I learned about it because it's considered one of the absolute healthiest fruits you can eat, and doctors recommend it constantly. But for women over 50 concerned about hair loss, this fruit is doing more damage than all the others combined. And the reason why is something that almost nobody understands. Blueberries have been crowned the king of superfoods. They're loaded with antioxidants, particularly anthocyanins, and study after study has shown their benefits for brain health or heart health and overall longevity. So, how could something so healthy be bad for your hair? The answer lies in understanding how your body changes after 50 and how blueberries interact with those changes in ways that nobody warns you about. Blueberries are extremely high in compounds called tannins. Tannins are polyphenols that have powerful antioxidant properties, but they also have a significant downside that becomes problematic as you age. Tannins bind to iron in your digestive system and prevent your body from absorbing it. Iron deficiency is already one of the most common nutritional deficiencies in women over 50, and it's also one of the primary causes of hair loss that U.S. doctors diagnose regularly in their female patients. When you eat blueberries frequently, especially in large amounts, you're making it nearly impossible for your body to absorb the iron it needs from any source. Even if you're taking iron supplements, your hair follicles are extremely hungry for iron. They need it to produce hemoglobin, which carries oxygen to the cells that create new hair growth. Without adequate iron and oxygen, your hair follicles go dormant. They stop producing hair and eventually shrink. This type of hair loss is called telogen alluvium, and it's characterized by overall thinning, excessive shedding, and hair that seems to stop growing. Medical research conducted at major American universities has definitively linked dietary tannin consumption to iron deficiency anemia in postmenopausal women. And the connection to hair loss is undeniable. But the tannin problem with blueberries goes even deeper. Tannins also interfere with protein absorption. And remember, your hair is made of protein. When you eat blueberries regularly, you're not only blocking iron absorption, but also reducing how much protein your body can extract from the foods you eat. This creates a double nutritional deficit that specifically targets the exact nutrients your hair needs most. It's like trying to build a house, but someone keeps stealing your bricks and mortar. You can work as hard as you want, but you'll never make progress. Timing is everything with blueberries. Never eat blueberries within 4 hours of taking iron supplements or eating iron-rich foods like red meat or spinach. The tannins will bind to that iron and flush it out of your system before your body can use it. The best time to eat your small portion of blueberries is as a mid-afternoon snack, well separated from your main nutrient-dense meals. Third, always eat blueberries with a source of vitamin C from a non-citrus source and a source of healthy fat. And this combination helps counteract some of the tannin effects. Try a 4 cup of blueberries with a tablespoon of almond butter and a few slices of bell pepper. The vitamin C enhances iron absorption from other meals. The fat slows sugar absorption and helps your body process the fructose more efficiently, and the small portion ensures you're not overwhelming your system. U.S. doctors who practice integrative medicine often recommend replacing daily blueberry consumption with a rotation of lower tannin fruits like papaya, kiwi, or raspberries in small amounts. These fruits provide similar antioxidant benefits without the severe iron blocking effects. If you love the taste of blueberries specifically, consider using them as a garnish rather than a main component of your meals. 5 or 6 blueberries sprinkled on top of a protein rich breakfast won't cause the problems that a full cup will. The most important thing to understand about all 7 of these fruits is that the problem isn't the fruits themselves in isolation. The problem is how they interact with your changing body after 50, how much of them you're eating, and how you're combining them with other foods. Your body at 50 is not the same as your body at 30 or 40. Your hormone levels have shifted. Your digestive efficiency has decreased, your insulin sensitivity has changed, and your nutrient absorption has become more challenging. Foods that were perfectly fine for you 20 years ago can now create serious problems. And your hair is often the first place those problems show up because hair follicles are incredibly sensitive to nutritional imbalances and systemic inflammation. The good news is that you don't have to eliminate these fruits completely from your life. What you need to do is approach them with knowledge and strategy. Small portions, proper timing, smart food combinations, and moderation are your best friends. When you respect how your body has changed and work with it rather than against it, you can still enjoy a wide variety of foods while protecting and even improving your hair health. The fixes we've discussed for each fruit are not extreme or complicated. They're simple, practical strategies that U.S. doctors recommend regularly to their patients, and they're based on solid nutritional science and medical research conducted at respected American institutions. Remember, your hair loss didn't happen overnight, and reversing it won't happen overnight either. But when you stop unknowingly sabotaging your hair with these 7 fruits and start supporting your body with the right nutritional strategies, you give your hair follicles the fighting chance they need to recover, strengthen, and start producing healthier hair again. The changes you make today with your fruit consumption can lead to visible improvements in your hair within 3 to 6 months, which is the typical hair growth cycle. Be patient with yourself, be consistent with these fixes, and pay attention to how your body and your hair respond. You deserve to feel confident and beautiful at every age, and protecting your hair is an important part of that journey.